Hey, it's Kasia here. Welcome to another short video. And this time I invited a new guest, Dorota, who's going to share with us her experience about her journey into raw lifestyle and also how her allergy disappeared when she actually introduced eating raw plant-based foods. So good morning, Dorota, and thank you for joining me in this video.
Good morning, Kasia. It's my pleasure to be your guest today.
Wonderful. I'm really glad you decided to share your experience because I believe your experience is going to help other people who might be experiencing similar issues. So you've joined me in a 30-day raw food challenge this year in April. And you introduced raw foods and you started to eat completely, fully raw. What happened when you started to eat like that?
Yes, so I think I should start with something else, decisions that I made a bit earlier. Because 4 years ago, I decided to quit eating meat altogether.
Yes.
And I believe this might also have something to do with the fact that it was much easier for me to transition to just raw or plant-based eating. Because I already had 4 years of experience of food habit of eating a lot of fruit and vegetables.
Absolutely.
So I think that matters a lot. And my allergy developed about 7 years ago, and it was very sudden. Just to realize that I'm now allergic to something. And of course, I easily discovered just taking a test at my medical center that it was pollen allergy. It's a very typical allergy these days. And the major problem that I suffered from was the birch tree pollen. And these allergies start usually in March and continue until June and have typical symptoms like swollen eyes and itchy eyes, especially in my case, and runny nose, etc., etc. So about 7 years ago, I was still sort of keen on taking some antihistamine medicine. Usually those medicines you can get without prescription. And then I discovered totally by chance that there is a very good natural remedy, very good natural antihistamine, which is black seed oil. So about, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, I decided to try that. And I would take the oil in autumn and winter, sort of preparing for the spring symptoms. And it did help. It did work very well. So I would not have to take any medicine anymore. But the symptoms were still there. They were simply milder. And this year was exceptional because I was eating less and less cooked food. And your 30 days process really triggered a new adventure in my life. I just, day after day, I was cooking less, and I don't like cooking, and I never liked cooking. So it was amazing to discover that this can work. So that's how it started. I think first with deciding not to eat meat and to eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, especially fruit. But then I was still cooking, yes. So this year was the first year when I decided more or less not to eat cooked food anymore.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You see, I hear this from many people, and that was exactly my experience. Having eaten plant-based but still cooked food helped a lot, even how I felt, but actually didn't bring like major changes or shifts in my health, for example. And I've also experienced quite a few things when suddenly I noticed, literally in the first year when I started to eat fully raw, that some of the symptoms that I was experiencing before, they completely disappeared. So this is your case is another example of basically something like this, that the raw, uncooked food basically really brings, major shift in our health and how our body functions. So I have a few questions that I wanted to ask. You've already answered some of them in what you've just shared with us about the symptoms that you experienced in your allergy. How you've also partly answered that question, how serious it was, like how impacted really your daily life, let's say. You've already mentioned about the medication that you've replaced with this natural remedy, but you were still taking that, which I believe, like most of things, whether they are natural or synthetic, they literally just suppress the symptoms, but they actually don't really heal whatever we are experiencing.
Yes, precisely. With the black seed oil, the symptoms were milder. And I really recommend to those of you who are not likely to eat raw food to try the black seed oil, because it's really good for our health anyway. So even now, when I do not have symptoms, I still have the oil, and I might be taking it in autumn and winter. But yes, as you said, precisely, the symptoms were there still. They were milder, and I would not have to take any tablets, which is great, yes, because they're synthetic. They just block something in our body in a very
Totally.
unnatural way. But this black seed oil, it does it more naturally. And it does benefit our health because it contains a lot of minerals, vitamins, etc. So it's really a very packed oil. But yes, the symptoms were still there, which means that the allergy was still there, or whatever caused the allergy in the first place, because something obviously caused it 7 years ago. Maybe something happened in my life. Maybe it was some kind of trauma or stress, whatever. My body reacted, yes, to something in my head, to some emotions or what have you. So my body reacted, producing this defense mechanism, because for our body it often is a defense mechanism. Yes. Any any health problems we suffer from, whether it's obesity or whether it is diabetes or anything else, is some kind of defense mechanism that our body produces, which might be wrong. Yes, might be wrong for us, but that's what happens. So so the interesting thing is, the most interesting thing for me is that this spring was so exceptional. Something changed in my body, obviously, and the body decided to get rid of this defense mechanism altogether. Just like us. Can you imagine? I was almost waiting for the allergy symptoms, but they were not coming in April. So I thought, okay, they will be coming in May, because it also depends on the weather condition. So if the weather is nice and sunny, the symptoms are more likely. If it's raining, there are less of them. So I was sort of waiting in April, I was waiting in May, in June, and nothing happened. No itchy eyes. This is amazing, not to have itchy eyes even for one day.
Wow.
And I started thinking, oh, wow. So obviously there must have been something that really helped to heal it. Yes.
Yes.
There could be a number of things, but I believe that changing eating habits so significantly definitely was a very significant factor, if not the most important factor in the process of healing whatever there was to heal, so that the allergy would just go away. And of course, I will be watching myself in spring next year.
Of course.
But I believe that this is end result. Yes, it's not something that is going to reappear out of the blue, unless I produce a reason for it. Yes, another reason.
Yeah, totally. And being aware that what we eat it actually becomes our body. The food that we consume is the building material for our body. So what we eat, that's how we feel. It really impacts our life. So it is very important, and it is important also to be aware what we consume and how our body really responds to what we eat. Absolutely. So that's really wonderful to hear. When I first heard, this news from you, it was like, for me, it was absolutely amazing, because obviously I've experienced also allergy, which at that time I didn't actually consider as allergy, but obviously it was allergy that were impacted my eyes as well. And that also stopped when I introduced raw foods, exactly. And I remember it was first winter when I actually didn't have that. I didn't feel that, even including like watery eyes. I don't experience that anymore. And I thought, wow, I mean, this was huge for me. So I totally related to that, and it was amazing to hear that from you, that it also impacted your life like this as well. So you answered also that question, that it basically showed quite quickly the results, basically, for the allergy not to come back, because you started basically in spring when the allergy normally appears, and it actually didn't appear this year. So I think it basically showed pretty much straight away how quickly basically it worked.
Yes, but I believe that it also matters that we get prepared in a way for plant-based raw food. So you should not probably be sort of thinking, okay, today I will stop my eating habits and I will move to a completely new stage. So in my case, it was a gradual process, and I believe that works better. So first,
Yes.
for example, you stop eating meat, dairy. I wasn't eating dairy products, I believe, when I started the adventure with you, or very little. And then, of course, bread and other foodstuffs, which sort of, we eliminate first in order to prepare ourselves and our body for more, I guess, radical, because for a lot of people it might be very radical, step, which is eating not cooked food.
Yeah.
And that's great. If our body reacts in a positive way, it is a great experience. And especially if you don't like cooking, which I don't, it's a fantastic additional value, to your
Absolutely.
lifestyle. I still cook for my children, but if I had to cook for myself a different type of food, which would be the case, then I would have to cook 3 meals a day, for example. But anyway, what is very important is the fact how my body reacted. It was obviously already prepared for
Yes.
not having cooked food. And in my case, what I really rely on is fruits, nuts, and seeds, and also some greens. So I don't even consume much in terms of vegetables. But that is enough. What I do consume is enough for my body. It feels pretty satisfied, yes.
Wonderful.
And I feel very healthy and have enough energy, etc., etc. So what I wanted to say is that it's probably a gradual process of eliminating certain foods first, sort of changing eating habits gradually, and then sort of becoming more open and prepared for raw food.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
would be my experience.
I totally agree. And this is what, like, if I recommend anything, that's exactly what I would also recommend. Rather go slowly into that transition, that maybe taking a huge leap at once and then go back, because that might happen when it happens too quickly. Because we do need to, as you've mentioned, we do need to prepare also our physical body, but also our mind. Quite often, maybe the physical body would actually manage. It's quite often the challenges for our mind, which can be more challenging than actually the physical body. But I think both need slow preparation. And I also believe that if we take it slowly, like a journey, I think it's going to be more efficient as well. And I think it's going to work better, probably for most people. So that's great. That's wonderful. Is anything else you would like to add and share, basically, maybe in terms of the allergy you experienced, um, how it works now for you? What I tend to say or share, basically, is that when we improve our diet, we also improve the quality of our life. What would you say about that? How it worked, like having the experience, for example, with your energy. What would you say about that?
Well, that's absolutely amazing how it works. You eat less, in fact, much less, but you have much more energy. And
Yeah,
the best example of that is the fact that people who eat like that do not need to sleep that much. So for
yeah,
me, 5, sometimes 6 hours, or usually 4 or 5 hours of sleep is enough, despite the fact that I consume much less. Oh, because of that, because I consume
yes,
much less food in terms of
absolutely.
both calories, I guess, and the quantity. The body is like, rejuvenating. The body is healing if there's anything to be healed. And in fact, not having to process the food, the body has much more energy. And people don't realize that. People often think that, well, we need so much food in order to produce energy, but that's a wrong attitude.
Yeah, I'm going to just mention very quickly, because I think that's really important, that about 50% of our energy body is dedicated to digesting food, and obviously to be able to digest cooked food. And I don't even mention meat, because that requires even more, and it's actually very low energy. Our body is just forced to work all the time and just dedicate most of the energy instead of enjoying our life. We are
Yes.
basically forcing our body to digest. Yeah, absolutely. So that's brilliant. I'm really glad to hear that you could say goodbye to the allergy, and I believe that if you continue eating like this, I don't see basically the reason why the allergy would come back. But if for any reason it's going to back, I think you'll be able to notice probably what actually caused that. Because what's also important is to really observe how our body works, like how we feel after eating certain foods. Like you've mentioned that you probably eat more fruit than vegetables, which is also what I experience. I actually switched to eating mostly fruit. Like the only other thing I eat is basically lettuce. So I don't even eat like typical vegetables anymore. I eat non-sweet fruit that I know some people consider as vegetables, like tomatoes or cucumbers or peppers, but they're actually fruit. So is there anything else you would like to add to um, to what you've just shared?
No, I think I said more or less what I wanted to say, and I really encourage everyone who would like to improve the quality of your life, the way you feel, your energy body, to try eating gradually more and more, relying more and more on fruit and vegetables. and raw food in general, but also seeds and nuts, which are great as a great source of nutrition. So I really encourage this lifestyle. It's going to transform your life if you try.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dorota. I really appreciate what you've shared with us, because it's really wonderful to hear something like this from someone who actually experienced that, from someone who experienced, like in your case, the allergy, and how you transition, how you switched to a completely different lifestyle, and also experiencing the quality of your life being free from allergy. So thank you very much for your share, which I really value, I really appreciate. And I just wish you all the best. Enjoy the raw lifestyle. Have fun with it, because it is fun, consuming fruit. And all my very best to you.
Thank you, Kasia. It was a pleasure speaking to you today. And I also wish you good luck with your entire new journey, which you're also on for some time now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ciao,
Thank
ciao.
you. Bye.
Bye.